Hi everybody, Ashleigh Hodges here. Thank you for joining me on your Thursday evening or afternoon, wherever you may be in the world right now. I'm just going to let people click on and then I will get started. But as you come on, give me a wave, say hello, let me know where you're coming in from. I love to see where you're viewing this from. I'm in my flat in London still. The UK is still currently on complete lockdown, and we found out today that it will probably be another 3 weeks of lockdown, so you're going to get me in my flat in London for quite a while yet. I hope you're all doing well. I'm just letting everybody click on. Give me a wave, let me know where you're coming in from. How are you all doing? Thank you, little heart. I'm just letting people connect and get on, and then we'll get started. Hi, everybody. Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. Ashleigh Hodges here. I'm in my flat in London and I've got some nice toning techniques for you today. Hi Brian. Hi Andrea. Hi everyone. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to see where you're all coming in from. Like I said, I'm in my flat in London. For those of you in the UK, I'm in Hackney Wick. So I'm overlooking the Olympic Park, which has been nice on these sunny days. Hi from Utah, amazing. Lithuania, amazing. Ciao, hi everybody. Yeah, amazing. Poland, fab. Hi everyone. So we've got a nice kind of amount of people here now, so I will get started for you all. Thank you so much again for joining me this Thursday evening, or it may be afternoon, or it might even be morning where you guys are. Keep letting me know where you're coming in from. Yay, Vancouver. Thank you. Hi from Italy. Ciao, ciao. Yes, so I have got Tom's hairstyle from Tuesday. Matt, my partner Matthew Gavin, has done a lovely job in recreating it earlier today for me. So I wanted to talk to you about when I think about colouring something that's a little bit more conceptual or a little bit more creative cut-wise. When it comes to colouring something like this, I like to kind of keep a balance with things, and I think it's the Libra within me, but I like to kind of work with a balance. So if the haircut is quite strong, I will go softer with the hair colour, and a lot of the time if the haircut is quite soft, I'll go a bit stronger with the hair colour. And I do this with my clients as well. A lot of my clients, if they're letting their hair grow long, I tell them to push the boundaries more of their colour so that they feel more excited. If they have just had a big restyle with their haircut, then we'll keep their colour the same or keep it softer. So it works both commercially and creatively. Hi everyone, thank you from Budapest. Thank you all for joining me. Hi. So I've been thinking a lot about like working with this haircut, and I've also been researching a lot on the skateboarding and like the 70s era in general. Matt had Lords of Dogtown on the other day. I absolutely love Dazed and Confused and Freaks and Geeks. So I've been looking at a lot of those sort of references to, and I'm really looking at the hair colour and the tones for back then. And really in the 70s, especially that skateboarding kind of California vibe, all the tones were very kind of soft, minky type of blondes, quite sandy. So I kind of wanted to play around with that. So I've made sure this was done on a blonde doll's head, just like Tom did on Tuesday. And I want to just actually enhance and play around with these sort of blonde tones with that. And this will be something that you guys, even though it's going on something that's quite a conceptual haircut, quite a creative haircut, the colour you guys will be able to transfer into the salon straight away. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to actually just use tonal pigments today. So I'm going to be using Finest Pigments and the Alchemic range. So I'm just going to be playing around because I want that kind of iridescent feel. What I liked when I was looking at a lot of the reference pictures from that sort of 70s era in hairstyling, in hair colour, sorry, is that it's quite natural. And everything looks like it's been done on very natural bases. So I kind of want that feel that my colour, once it's dried up and I post it out to you in the morning, I want it to look like it's kind of got that iridescentness to it and that kind of soft, natural feel to it. So it doesn't look like it's actually been coloured. That's the overall feel with this tonal, this toning look today. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Any questions throughout this whole thing, I will keep jumping down and checking the comment section for you, and I will be bringing the doll's head closer and further away so that you can see it at different angles. So I have got mixed up for my regrowth colour, because I'm going to do a slight stretched root, and I'm just going to drop it down with an 8 in Finest Pigments. So I'm working with 8, and then I'm working with sand and pearl within that 8. So I've got 5 parts of the 8 in Finest Pigments. I've got 3 parts of the sand and 2 parts of the pearl. So that pearl is in there just to kind of knock away some of that gold and to kind of, we want that kind of natural fawny base 8, which will be really nice. And the idea is to go through, I'm going to stretch out these roots with the 8 in Finest Pigments, and then I'm going to work alternatively with pearl and natural, equal parts in Finest Pigments. Let me double check, it's neutral, sorry. And then I'm going to be working with tobacco and a little dash of lavender in the Alchemics. So why a little dash? I'm saying I've mixed up about 25 ml of tobacco, and there's probably about 3 ml of lavender in there. And that lavender again is just kind of, it's working as a complementary tone to enhance the tobacco rather than knocking and balancing anything out. It's enhancing that tobacco. So I've divided this really roughly because it's slightly damp so that my toner can go on there. I've divided this into 4 quadrants, just like we would when we come to do an all over colour. And what I want to do is in each quadrant, I'm going to be reversing it. So in this quadrant, I will start off with under here, the very ends are going to be toned when I split this section in half. The underneath will be toned with 1, and then let's say formula A, and then the ends of the top section will be formula B. When I come to the next section around, that will be flipped reversed. So underneath here will be formula B, and underneath here will be formula A. So as I go through, you'll understand what I'm saying. My cats are wandering around again. They've all come to see you. So it's going to be a really nice, easy technique for you guys to see today. So I'm going to keep that split in half, like so, and just clip this back section away. So we've just got that front quadrant to start with. I'm going to work up towards the parting, and what I'll do to start with is just apply that regrowth colour onto the short hair here. So this is my number 8 in Finest Pigments. And just before I came on live, I've just misted the head so it's slightly damp. For those of you just joining, I'm going to be creating a tonal look for you today. So variation on different blondes, working with Finest Pigments and Alchemic. I'm working with a number 8 running through the regrowth, and then we're going to alternate the ends. So I want this kind of natural iridescent feel. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. Hello Oscar darling, hello. Any questions as I go through, please feel free to ping them over to me. So I'm going to split this in half, this section, straight away, so I know already when I get to my section to change my formula. It's gonna, once you've got the colour going on there, it'll almost be a bit like a chessboard. I'm starting in this shorter side and then I'm going to work round to the longer side. What I think is going to be really nice with this is a lot of clients that have a balayage might not come back for a little while. So I generally get my clients that have balayages to come back for a kind of a tonal refresh. And I think Finest Pigments are so amazing for us to do that with. So I'm just going in right now, applying this regrowth section. Let me bring this down slightly more. Make sure you can still see this in the comments. Lisa, you've only worked with Mars, so you're looking forward to seeing the other colour lines. Yes. Well, as you guys know, I'm still fairly new to the brand, so I get really excited by trying out all these lines that Davines has. And as soon as I got my hands on Finest Pigments, I got so excited. I just think there's absolutely nothing else like it on the market. To have like a pure direct dye like this that has bases, I just think is groundbreaking. So I absolutely love playing with Finest Pigments, and I use Finest Pigments a lot. So I'm going to do because I want that to be there. Perfect. So the formula I'm using underneath here is going to be my pearl formula. So that is neutral and pearl mixed together. And I'm just overlaying that so you're getting a soft blend. Now I'm not going to lay lots and lots of flamboyage in between all of these colours, because even though I want a separation of tones, I quite like if they end up slightly intermixed, and when I rinse them out, if they get slightly intermixed, I'm going to quite like that, because like I said, I want that kind of iridescent. I almost want a natural pearlescent blonde with this. So I'm just going back in now with my regrowth colour. And I want this regrowth to be quite stretched out. I want it to have that kind of, that skateboarder feel to it, where it's got those long roots and it's just those mid-lengths and ends really that have been hit by that California sun. like I was saying, a lot of my clients will have a balayage and then I'll get them to come back and have a toner or a tonal treatment of some description after about 6 to 8 weeks, and then they'll come back again for their balayage refresh another 6 to 8 weeks later. And I think it's nice because then you've got longevity with your colour then. They don't feel like they're spending loads of money, but you're definitely getting some nice services for them. I even have some clients that have natural blonde hair. Now, it's really rare at the moment nowadays, although in the UK it's very rare anyway to have natural blonde hair. But those that do will come in just for a tonal service because they just like to keep their natural hair feeling fresh. So stuff like this is really lovely. And again, Finest Pigments and Alchemic are really fun for blondes to play around with. So I'm still using that neutral and the pearl. So that is equal parts of that through those ends. This is my last section on this quadrant for the pearl. I'm going to again apply my 8. Once I've done this section, I will double check for any questions. How have you all been? Let me know. Are you in complete lockdown in your countries still? How's it all going where you're at? Within the UK at the moment, we've been put into lockdown for another 3 weeks. So we're all just kind of acclimatizing now to this being our new normal for the time being. And we had Easter over the weekend in the UK, which would normally be a bank holiday, but it was only really a bank holiday for those in offices working from home. So yeah, it's kind of like just acclimatizing to that new normal, isn't it, right now? In fact, it all smells amazing. Oh my God, yeah, totally. Finest Pigments smell so good. But View also smells incredible. Okay, so coming into the top part of this quadrant now. So again, I'm going to continue using the 8 as the regrowth, but what I'm going to do is now switch up the ends to the Alchemic, which is tobacco and a dash of lavender. So that dash of lavender there is just to be a complementing tone. So it's just there to actually enhance and help kind of drive that tobacco tone into the foreground. Send in your questions to me. Do you guys use a lot of Finest Pigments in your salons? For me, they're one of my favourite lines within Davines. Even if I'm not using them as an all-over toner like I am right now, I generally use them as a glossing service. And the majority of the collections, shoots, shows and things that I've been planning for, I utilise Finest Pigments and Alchemic just as that glossing element to polish everything off. So I'm stretching these roots quite far down, so all you're seeing is just these tips through here. And then as we come into that longer regrowth through here, you'll get all of this lovely long blonde coming through there. So I'm going to be using the Alchemic now through these ends. I'm just gently blurring them in. So with the mix of the tobacco and then the pearl laying on top of each other, we're going to get a really nice kind of natural pearlescent feel. I want this to be really iridescent, so I don't want really strong matte tones. I want kind of really shiny, you're not sure where one starts, where one ends. Brilliance, yes it is. View is always my go-to really for toning, but use Finest Pigments too, like you say, just adds so much more luster and gloss. Yeah, it totally does. I mean, View is incredible, and View is the first line within Davines that I actually started to play with because I was getting ready to shoot the Eternals collection with Tom. We had the new nuances in View, so View was really kind of the first thing that I got my hands on, and you always kind of fall in love with that very first line, but then the more I've been playing with Finest Pigments, there is so much versatility there as well, and I think they both kind of have their place, and I think they're beautiful overlapped with each other. For me, for the look today, I just think Finest Pigments is perfect because I don't want that really solid look. I want just a really soft look with this. So you're not even 100% sure that it's been coloured. That's the vibe we're going for. It could be natural California, sun lifted hair. I'm just blurring those tones together so that we get a soft melt with that. I'm not being super precise and putting a flamboyage between each colour tone because I actually kind of want that slight intermixing. I want that soft natural blur with the colours today. So I'm just gently bringing that down. And before I move on to the next bit, I just wipe my hands gently on the towel so that everything's nice and clean. And just blending that through. So as these sections are getting wider, I'm just splitting them in half. So I'm dropping that front bit and going straight into these back sections within that quadrant so that I can blend in that stretched root. For those of you just joining, hello. Thank you so much for coming to see me this Thursday. I'm doing a creative toner for you today. I'm going to be working with Finest Pigments and Alchemic. At the moment, the stretched regrowth is Finest Pigments 8. That's 5 parts of the Finest Pigment 8. We've got 3 parts of sand and then 2 parts of pearl within that. And then for this top section on this quadrant, I am using tobacco from Alchemic with a slight dash of lavender in there. So the lavender is our complementary tone. Underneath this section, through this panel here, we've got that stretched regrowth, but with finest pigment, neutral and pearl, and that's done in equal parts. So what we're going to end up with is this quadrant and the diagonal quadrant next to it will be the same, but then the two quadrants next door to each other horizontally will be different. So you'll get that kind of meta feel with the colour, which will be lovely. But you'll get that multi-tonalness because each quadrant has then been split up as well. And I've just been looking a lot at 70s colour tones. And to be honest, if you look at a lot of how the 70s colours were, they're very similar, especially the California skateboarder vibe. They're very similar to the type of colours that we're doing nowadays, which is really cool to see. And a lot of these people that were wearing these styles didn't really do anything with their hair. They allowed the sun to naturally lift it up. And I mean, in the 70s, you would perhaps use maybe even a bit of like lemon into your hair to like shift it up in the sun more and things like that, because the technology behind colour just wasn't there yet. So it's really fun kind of playing around to recreate that sort of natural look with the technology that we have nowadays. These finest pigments, it's really good fun to play around with that. A lot of the people that had that really beautiful white blonde ends were naturally quite fair to start with. That's how they ended up with that lightness to begin with. So I'm just blending the alchemic through these ends. And this is my last section for this front quadrant. And what I'll do is I'm going to work around each quadrant. So it will take me a little bit of time tonight because I'm doing it gently and slowly and precisely for you guys to be able to see and take away today. But in a salon, it would probably only take you about half an hour. So it's a really nice quick service. A lot of my tonal services like this, I would just add on to a blow dry or something for a client so that they feel like they're having their hair kind of freshly done in every single way. Don't forget to send those questions through. Thank you so much. Oh, Emmanuel, hi. Thank you for tuning in. Hi from Denmark. Hi from Holland. Thank you. So you can see here, we've got that nice kind of blend in the tones coming through there. So I'm just going to clip this away here. I'm going to be working on this quadrant here for you. So exactly like we did before. So I can see I stopped here. So we came all the way up to here and then across. So that's where I'm going to split my quadrant up. And I'm going to clip that over to the side so it's not overlaying onto my already pre-lightened section. And I'm going to just take that longer section out for the time being, because I'm just going to paint through with that regrowth colour up through here. Hi from Switzerland, amazing, hi. Hi everyone that's just joined. Thank you for joining me this Thursday, wherever you may be, whatever time it may be. I am in London. In my flat in London, it's 7:30 in the evening in London right now. So I'm just gently going through these edges so that I'm not staining any of the block. Nice and clean working. So for those of you that are just joining me, I am colouring the creative haircut that Tom did on Tuesday for everybody. And with a creative haircut, I like to be a lot softer with the colour. I think you should have one thing that really stands out. I'm going to come slightly further back. I always feel like there's one thing that really needs to stand out, and the other thing is there to enhance that one thing. So this haircut is a really strong haircut, so I believe that the colour should be there to help enhance that haircut, not overtake it. So I'm working with really soft tones, using the finest pigments and the alchemic range as my toners today, just to play around, something a little bit different. For me, I've been playing with mask, with Vibrochrome and View quite a lot recently, so it's really nice to kind of step outside my comfort zone and play around with something else. I like to do that with myself quite a lot, especially with my clients and my creative work. If I feel like I've got some go-to things all the time, I like to push myself outside of that comfort zone and outside of that box, because as soon as you start kind of becoming really in one space, it's hard to shift out of it. So the quicker you shift, the easier it is. I think it's healthy for us to mix things up. I think this is the only way I'm able to mix my life up right now, is by changing around the colours that I'm using, because it becomes a little bit like Groundhog Day otherwise, doesn't it, during isolation? Has anybody been trying to learn any new skills during this isolation? I was having a lovely chat on Monday with Sally Brooks, who is our Fellowship for British Hairdressing Hairdresser of the Year at the moment, and she was telling me that she's been taking up pottery. One of my friends is a fashion stylist, and he's been doing fashion illustration classes on Instagram, so I've been taking some of his fashion illustration classes, and that's been really good fun. I haven't sat at my dining table and drawn since I was a kid, I don't think, so it was really lovely. Just sitting and drawing and not having a reason to be drawing, just doing it for fun. I think it's nice at the moment to kind of revert back and do something fun. 3 online hair classes every day. Amazing, Lisa. My God, you're going to be going straight back to the salon, so motivated. I'm really impressed. Yeah, I think it's nice for us to be doing stuff that keeps us motivated and keeps us creative right now. One of my friends has a podcast, and I was one of his guests. It came out on Saturday. It's the Hear Me, See Me podcast. For anyone that wants to check it out, I think I'm episode 14. There's a link in my Instagram bio. And at the end of it, we talk about when we come out of isolation, how we want to be butterflies. And we kind of all have gone into this as little caterpillars, and we all have to do whatever it is that we personally have to do during our time in our cocoon, so that each of us gets to be a caterpillar when we come back out of this. It's a nice thing to think about, what means, what's going to take it for you to come out of this as a caterpillar, not as a caterpillar but as a butterfly. I think that's a nice little thought for us all. Okay, so I'm now coming on to my top section in this quadrant, which means I'm going to be flip reversing it. So continuing with my 8 as my stretched root, I'm going to be changing it up from tobacco being underneath. I'm going to now go into my pearl formula for my ends. So this is neutral and pearl within Finest Pigments that I'm applying to the ends now. I'm sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. They're very chatty, my cats. I always make sure I feed them before I come live to you all, so that they're not pestering us too much, but I can just hear them meowing away in the background, chatting. They're trying to get involved in every live that I do in some way. So I'm taking this tension, I'm taking each section with tension so that I can really get in at the root in a clean way. When I come back round to the next section, I'll come in close again for you all. Any questions that you have for me, ping them across. This is our little time with each other, so you can ask me absolutely anything. I love to kind of hear how your weeks have been. I feel like Thursdays come around so quickly now, don't they? It's mad to think that we were all such busy people, and the days would blur together, and now we're not as busy, but the days still kind of blur together. We still find things to do. I'm just about to finish my 6th book. 6th, maybe 7th book, whilst I've been in isolation. I read a lot. That's my little bit of escapism. So I'm dragging that root down really nice and long. So in these short sections, you're only going to get a little kick of the blonde at the very ends. And that's really because in this haircut, when I looked at it, I really liked that little kick that laid over the top of the long style, the long part of the style. So I just wanted really those ends to be the highlighter of the parts of the haircut that I enjoy. I think that's a really nice way of kind of colouring hair for creativity, and also for clients, is we're just enhancing all the bits that we enjoy. I know when I'm doing work on my clients, I'm kind of considering where the lightness is coming up to their face and their face shape. Where do I want to enhance? What do I want to soften? So it's exactly the same with a creative hairstyle. I'm looking at the hairstyle thinking, what do I want to enhance and what do I want to soften? So I really wanted to highlight that little kick. So I'm doing that with the pearly tone because that's going to then lay over the more tobacco natural tone. And I really have enjoyed playing around with the finest pigments and the alchemic range. For those of you that have seen my Instagram will know that I like to get creative with my formulations and mixing up with wefts to kind of trial things. So throughout this time in isolation, I've been trialing lots of different formulations and tones and wefts and stuff like that. And maybe one of these Thursdays I'll show you the array of tones that I've created and played around with. Just before I move on, I'm just going to check in with you all. Anna, you've been cooking, some painting, not very good, fashion illustration, sounds great. Yeah, the fashion illustration has been amazing. Beautiful application, oh thank you so much. Amy is still educating apprentices through an online platform. That's incredible. I love that you're doing that. Clients are constantly texting about that they miss you and have a better application from me. Would love to know your favourite book you've read so far this quarantine. So much cooking here too, Anna. Amazing. Yep, I've been cooking a lot myself. For any of you that have tuned into my Instagram, myself and Matt have cooked quite a lot. I know a lot of you have enjoyed my cooking with Matt videos, mainly because I will only cook vegan stuff. So sometimes it goes down well, sometimes it doesn't go down as well. But overall, I think he's enjoying it. And yeah, my favourite book. Well, I'm a total nerd. I read a lot of non-fiction, or I listen to a lot of non-fiction Audible books. But I actually read my fiction that I read is a lot of like sci-fi and fantasy. So yeah, I told you I'm a total nerd. And I've just finished a sci-fi series that is called The Illuminae Files. And that was brilliant. It was a space opera type thing about some crazy corporation that has hijacked something, and it's all done in a very creative way. So it's not written in a normal format, it's actually written in lots of documents. So you're a bit like a detective reading through the documents and finding out the story as you go along. So that was quite a fun one to read, especially in isolation, because it had your brain ticking over and thinking. So yeah, I like to read a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, mainly because I think it keeps my mind creative. It's a nice escapism, but my mind is then always having to think of something imaginative. So in this section here, as I'm coming into the long quadrant, I'm applying it flipped reverse, so the pearl is coming through these ends, and then the tobacco will come through that top section. And I am blending that through. Now I will put a flamboyage in here, purely so that it doesn't get on the skin. I've been really enjoying reusing the flamboyage strips, so the piece of paper and this little strip, because I write my formula that I'm playing around with on the back, and then I use the strip to tape the weft into place. So that's been a really good little sustainability tip there. So I'm going to split my section up again in half. And now that we're getting onto this longer area, the sections are going to become bigger as well. See some of my drawings? Yeah, maybe I'll start posting them, or maybe I'll get a collection for you for next Thursday. I'll put them in the wall behind me, and you can all give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on what you think of my drawings. How long the gloss gonna stay nice? I mean, to be honest, I find it stays nice. A lot of my clients will have it staying nice until their next appointment, depending on it really depends on how often they are shampooing their hair and how they look after their hair. It could look really nice and shiny and glossy for about a week if they wash it a lot and straighten it a lot, but if they look after the hair a lot, if they wear it quite natural, it will last even longer. I've got a few of my clients have really thick hair, so they don't wash it very often, which means that it lasts even longer. So I never give my clients an exact time frame for anything, even creative colour. I'm never like, well, that's going to last 12 washes or anything like that, because everyone's hair is different, everyone's porosity is different, and everyone's hair regime is different. So on one client, it might last up until their next appointment. Another client, it might only last a week or so. So it really is kind of, you're only going to give it to the clients that it's going to work with. For someone that has naturally beautiful blonde hair and you're doing it just to enhance their naturally beautiful blonde hair, they will probably only have it done a couple of times throughout the year, as and when they want to have it enhanced and looking really beautiful. It's just a nice thing for them to have a boost. This, because I want it to be quite iridescent, I don't want a really solid colour. Again, I would probably only do this on someone that isn't going to straighten the life out of their hair, because an iridescent colour on anyone that uses a lot of heated tools is going to disappear really quickly. Yes, we will definitely be posting the final result tomorrow for you. As soon as I'm finished here, as soon as I'm finished with you guys. My God, I've only got 10 minutes left. It's amazing how quick time goes, isn't it? When you're having fun with all of you. So I will I'll send it to Inna, and Inna will post it up for you all tomorrow to see. I will rinse this all off and we'll let it dry naturally overnight in a nice shape for you, so that you can see the colour in the daylight. Because like I said, at the moment in the UK it's the evening, although I have heard that it's meant to be a bit rainy tomorrow, so maybe I won't get a lot of daylight. We've been having some really nice sunshine and weather in the UK, which is quite rare for us, especially in April. So it's kind of made lockdown that little bit easier. I hope you guys have all been enjoying some nice weather through your windows during this isolation period. So every time I'm clipping this up, I'm clipping it up and away from the previous sections that I've already done, because I don't want those ends of my blonde hair to be getting onto that regrowth area. Just constantly applying it in a clean way. The cleaner you are of your application, the nicer the colour is going to look at the end. So I'm going to come in nice and close for you now, so that you can see. So I'm just applying this through that regrowth, stretching that down softly. Always cleanly wiping my hands before I apply the end tone. So this end tone, for anybody that wants to know, is the neutral and the pearl within Finest Pigments. My regrowth colour is 5 parts 8, 3 parts sand and 2 parts pearl, again in Finest Pigments. And then the other third tone that I'll be using is the Alchemic Tobacco with a dash of lavender. So I've put 25 grams of the tobacco in the pot and about 3 grams of lavender. But really it's just about kind of, you can roughly see the tone that you want, and the lavender just ever so slightly shifts away the yellow tone of the tobacco, so you can kind of see the tone that you want as you're mixing it up with Alchemic. That's the trick with that. So we've got just under 10 minutes left, everyone. So if you have any questions for me, send them in now. If I haven't been able to get to your question, I apologise, and I will look back in the comments and definitely get back to you. Inspiration for this was really kind of following on from what Tom had been saying with the 70s skateboarder kind of vibe. I've been doing a lot of research in that myself, and if you go onto my Instagram, in my stories, I posted a couple of little pictures that have inspired me, that I've found fun and interesting whilst kind of looking at this. Ashleigh Hodges hair is my Instagram if you don't follow me already, and you want to check them out. There's a really good one of Farrah Fawcett on a skateboard from the 70s, and that's kind of what really had me looking at playing around with blonde tones in particular, and then just kind of looking at how hair was in the 70s in California, and during that kind of skateboarder time, most people had kind of quite interesting natural hair colours that had been lightened by the sun. So that's really what I wanted to create today, is something that looks quite natural over a haircut that's really quite conceptual and creative. So we have that really nice balance. So this is the last section through here that I'll be using pearl, and then what I'll be doing is going up to tobacco on this top section of this quadrant. So each section is flipped reversed. So just think of it like a checkerboard. Love sand and pearl. I know, it is so beautiful. I think they're my two favourite. Amy, how long have I been working with Davines? I have only been working with Davines a short time. I came on board with Tom at the beginning of this year. I've been playing around with it for a couple of months before that. So really, I'm still very new to the brand and the colours. So if I ever get a name of something wrong, I apologise. But there's a lot to learn, which has been really good actually in isolation. You can learn so much because there are so many incredible education things at the moment. So I'm coming into my last 5 minutes. I'm going to continue working through this and allow it to develop. And then I will post the picture up tomorrow for you. Please feel free to always reach out to me. I'm always available to answer questions. So if you've not been able to get your question answered, this evening. I will try and get back to you. And again, if I don't get back to you, you are more than welcome to ping me little messages and have a little chat with me. I love to hear other people's experiences. So I'm just blurring that out, and then I'm going to be working in with the tobacco. So this is the tobacco and the lavender. So when I'm doing a blend, I will apply the ends first, and then I work my way up to the regrowth. So I work my way up to that stretched root, and I'm just blending that in. I'm using the skinnier brush for this just so that I get more precision. And like I said, I'm not going to be putting lots of flamboyage through this. I kind of like the idea that the tobacco and the pearl are going to sit on top of each other and amalgamate and merge together. It's all about kind of having that bit of pearlescent kind of shimmer running through it all, so I don't want anything too structured. Nothing too solid. Blending it out and through the ends of the tobacco. So what will be really nice is when this finishes and it's all dried, you'll get that kind of pearlescent through these ends kick over the top of this tobacco. Fabulous. So I'm coming to the end now, so I'm just going to check if you had any questions. Ciao. What is your Instagram page again? Thank you. It is Ashleigh Hodges Hair. You'll see my little face smiling as you come on board. Please share your Instagram handle again. It is always nice to watch you work. Thank you so much, Sandra. Stay strong, safe and healthy, my fellow hair ninja. Oh, Lisa, I love that you call me a hair ninja. That makes my day, honestly does. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Another Thursday has been and gone. I will be back next Thursday again with another colour creation for you. Stay safe, stay healthy. My hair ninja posses. Thank you so much, and I will see you next Thursday. Mwah.